All right, so our last individual motor here we want to look at is these refrigerant motor compressors. So these are sealed units. You could have one on your fridge as an example of one, or an HVAC unit. So let's take a moment, and actually in the industrial phase, big motors as well. Let's see what it says here. 28700 rules for refrigerant motor compressors. Rules 28702 to 28714. A. Apply to refrigerant motor compressors, including hermetic refrigerant motor compressors and semi-hermetic refrigerant motor compressors, hereafter referred to as motor compressors. And B. Supplement or the general rules of this question. So it's specific to these style of motors. They fall under this group of rules. Marking. Motor compressors or equipment that incorporates them shall be marked as required by Rule 2-100. Specifically, the marking shall show the rated load current and the locked rotor current rating. 28704, horsepower rated equipment. Horsepower rated equipment used for the control of motor compressors and not having a locked rotor current rating shall be given an equivalent locked rotor current equal to 6 times the full load current rating. 2. Where the full load current rating is not marked, an equivalent full load current rating shall be determined from the horsepower rating by referring to table 44 or 45 as applicable. Insulated conductor ampacity. The allowable ampacity of insulated conductors of a branch circuit supplying a motor compressor or equipment consisting of one or more motor compressors and other loads shall be based on the marked rated load current of the motor compressor or equipment and shall comply with the general requirements of this section. So 28106. Now the reason they got this in here in the delta sign, it's a new rule. This refers to HVAC equipment where you will have a motor and you're going to have other equipment as part of the AC unit or the HVAC equipment. 28708, overcurrent protection. Except as permitted by Subrule 2, each ungrounded conductor of a branch circuit feeding a motor compressor shall be protected by an overcurrent device rated or set at not more than 50% of the locked rotor current of the motor compressor, unless such a device will not permit the motor compressor to start, in which case the rating or setting shall be permitted to be increased to a value not exceeding 65% of the locked rotor current of the motor compressor. 2. Subrule 1 shall not be deemed to require use of overcurrent devices rated or set at less than 15 amps. So the overcurrent protection for these motors, this is the rule. It's not 28200. It's 28708. Just pay attention. Same with the overload protection, 28710. The branch circuit, insulated conductors, and control equipment for each motor compressor shall be provided with overload protection complying with rules 28302 to 28306, except that A, the rating or setting of the overload relays shall not exceed 140% of the marked rated load current of the motor compressor. The rating or setting of the overload devices, such as fuses, shall not exceed 125% of the marked rated load current of the motor compressor, and assemblies consisting of one or more motor compressors with or without loads in combination shall be permitted to include overload protection as part of the assembly. Control equipment, 28712, Subrule 1. Control equipment used for the control of motor compressors shall have A, either a marked or equivalent locked rotor current rating not less than that of the motor compressor that it controls, and B, either a marked or an equivalent full load current rating not less than that of the rated load current of the motor compressor that it controls. In all other respects, control equipment for motor compressors shall be in accordance with rules 28500, 502, and 506. Disconnecting means, the disconnecting means serving a motor compressor shall have a continuous duty rating not less than 115% of the rated load current of a motor compressor and an interrupting capacity or an equivalent locked rotor current rating as determined in accordance with Rule 28704 that is not less than the locked rotor current rating of the motor compressor. Subrule 2, where one disconnecting mean serves one or more motor compressors together with other loads, the disconnecting mean shall have a continuous current rating not less than 115% of the rated load current of the motor or motor compressor having the largest rated load current, plus the sum of the rated load currents and full load currents of all other loads that may be in operation at the same time, and B, an interrupting capacity or equivalent locked rotor current rating as determined in accordance with Rule 28704 that is not less than the locked rotor current rating of the motor or motor compressor having the largest marked or equivalent locked rotor current rating, plus the sum of the full load current rating of all other loads that may be in operation at the same time. So remember, these rules are unique to hermetically sealed motors. So they're a bit of an oddball in the sense that think of HVAC, think of the fridge in your house, and think of an industrial like a pipeline pump type motor. Then, as far as these multi-winding or part-winding start motors, those are Heaton's seek and peak type rules. Just read them. We've done most of, well, 100% of really what you get tested on and what you really need to know. The basic rules, a continuous duty motor, a non-continuous duty motor, a wound rotor motor, a synchronous motor. I've just gone over the hermetically sealed rules. You can read the part winding rules. And in the next video, I'm just going to briefly go over the control and disconnecting mean requirements in this section. And the last thing we'll do probably is add a capacitor for power factor correction, but we'll do that in the capacitor series of videos. We'll see you then.